Hello, everybody, and welcome to our June 27th meeting, staff meeting of the Hamilton County Commission. We're just all excited because we just had a fantastic press conference announcing 14 million out of our 31 million for shovels in the ground for affordable housing. So we just had that, so that's why we're a little bit behind getting started, but I think it's a good reason to be a little bit behind. Okay, with that, I'm gonna ask everybody to introduce themselves on the dais.
Christy Rischel, Assistant Clerk.
Leslie Hervey, Clerk to the Board.
Stephanie Summerall Dumas, Commissioner.
Good afternoon. I'm County Commissioner Denise Driehaus.
Holly Chrisman, Assistant County Administrator.
Charlie Annis, Prosecutor's Office.
And I'm Alicia Reese, Hamilton County Commission Board President. All right, we have a presentation from our Community Revitalization Grant recommendations, and Holly Chrisman, as well as Steve Johns, who is the Assistant Director of Planning and Development, are going to make, I don't know which one's going to make the presentation. Holly's going to make the presentation. Let me, before you do that, I want to say congratulations to both of you for the work that you did on this housing. And we could not have done it without you. So I want to thank you and your staffs for working diligently on it. And we wouldn't be where we are. So thank you. All right, I'll turn it over to you, Holly.
Great. Thank you, Madam President. And thank you for this opportunity. We have even more good news to share today following this great press conference we had. So today I'll be sharing with you the recommendations of the 2023 Community Revitalization Grant. And there are quite a few slides, so I'm going to go through the projects relatively quickly. But before I do, I want to start by emphasizing that these recommendations include $3 million of vital projects that will take place in Hamilton County's villages, townships, and cities. And it will align with their priorities. The board, as you know, through this program, is partnering more intentionally with the county's political jurisdictions. And the board dedicated this significant amount of funding in 2021 to create jobs, reduce barriers to development, be a stronger partner with communities, improve business districts, and to generally assist in the revitalization efforts of our suburban communities. And I'm glad to say that this is the third year we've had grants, and we have had another competitive round and very strong projects come forward. So just as a quick reminder, the intent of these funds is to be flexible and easy to access for communities. We do place an emphasis on impactful projects that will have real and immediate benefits. And of course, the projects have to be located within our suburban communities in Hamilton County, and that may need the financial resources, may lack alternative resources to get these projects going. I apologize for the light flickering. We are working on getting this fixed.
We got mics and lights, and that's okay. We still gonna get the work done.
Right. And just as a reminder, the budget for this program is $3 million. So this year we did have 14 communities, 14 applications from 12 different communities apply for funding. We had a wide range of projects, and the total request was $3.7 million. So unfortunately, we are not able to provide funding to all of the grants. Before I'll put the list up here. This is hard to read, I apologize. But basically this shows at a high level, and I'll go through these more individually, the requests that we received as well as the recommendation. And a few things to point out. We do have recommendations to reduce funding for 2 of the projects I'll describe later, and 3 projects are not recommended for funding. We have, of all the applicants, 3 communities have received grants in prior years, and that would be Lockland, North Bend, and Woodlawn. So we had a great review committee, and it was small but mighty. And I'd like to thank and recognize Steve Johns and Katie Valley for stepping up. They're part of our planning and development department. They stepped up. As you all know, Mark Von Allman unfortunately left the county. So I was very pleased that they actually volunteered to step in and help with this program. And Steve is here today to help answer any maybe specific questions that I'm not able to answer. But when they were evaluating the programs, I'll just quickly go through how the programs were looked at. One was project impact, which could be number of jobs created, investment, any blight or nuisances that were removed, project need? Is it located in an economically distressed community? Does it have significant budget constraints? Is it a tough site to work at? Is it high acquisition costs? Are there increased costs causing a funding gap due to inflation and interest rates? And we also looked at project support. Are there other entities supporting it, either financially or through letters of support? And was the application clear? Does the community appear to have the ability to see the project through to completion? So with that brief overview, I'll now go into a brief summary of the recommended projects. And of course, at any time you have questions, please feel free to interrupt. The first project is Colerain Township. They requested $250,000, and we are recommending the full amount. This is for a sidewalk project along Joseph Road from Colerain to Cheviot, which is an area that includes a church, park, businesses, and a senior condo complex. This road also provides access to Colerain High School. There are no sidewalks on either side of this property, requiring students and residents to walk in the roadway. In addition, according to the township, the sidewalk will facilitate development of a currently blighted property, as according to them, the lack of pedestrian mobility is a barrier to redeveloping that site. So as you'll see, Colerain Township is providing a match of $250,000. This will help facilitate a blighted property. It'll be safe routes to school, and there will be anticipated jobs and new payroll. And here you can see just a schematic. The yellow line is where the new sidewalk would go. To the left of the screen is the entrance to Colerain High School. So that is the Colerain project. We received an application from Deer Park in the amount of $350,000. We're recommending $300,000 for that project. This is to construct a music pavilion in Chamberlain Park, which is their primary park in the city. And what this would do is, you can imagine having a music pavilion, they were going to be hosting more live music and events and performances. So that additional use of the park is anticipated to have an impact on the businesses along the Blue Ash Road corridor. They are leveraging state funding for this project, as well as putting in about $100,000 in match. This project is part of the city's plan that came out of COVID. And again, it will serve as a community focal point and activation of the Blue Ash Road corridor. We are recommending a reduced amount in an effort to fund more community projects, as well as the project ranked a bit lower from an economic impact perspective based on the application. But you can see here, this is just a schematic from their plan of what the park could look like. Next, we were very excited to receive an application from Elmwood Place. Again, they requested $285,000. We recommend the full amount. This will be used to acquire the closed Elmwood Place Elementary School for redevelopment. This is a critical piece of property within the village. It's a 2.5-acre site right in the heart of Elmwood Place. The Elmwood Community Improvement Corporation has created a draft redevelopment plan for this site that will be finalized upon purchase. There is, depending on the ultimate use of the site, there is a potential of between 5 and 25 FTEs. So this is a great opportunity, as you can see here, just on the map where this is. It's a big site and a great opportunity for Elmwood to kind of control their destiny, if you will. As I mentioned, Laughlin, who has received previous grants from us, Laughlin submitted 2 grant applications. We're recommending one for funding, which is the one on the screen right now, which is $190,000 to repair and repave their public parking lot that supports several businesses in the West Wyoming Avenue Business District, and they will also make some improvements to the stormwater and storm drainage areas in that parking lot. This project supports 12 businesses within that business district with 45 employees, and they are providing a $25,000 match. You can see here where the parking lot is, as well as the businesses that this updated parking lot will support. Next is the City of Madeira requesting $300,000, and we are recommending the full amount. This is to help close a funding gap for their Miami Avenue Revitalization and Complete Streets project. This project will increase economic activity in their business district through enhancements to calm traffic, as well as allow safe access for pedestrians and cars. It's estimated that the project will create 75 construction jobs, create or retain at least 50 jobs within their business district. And this grant request is necessary, unfortunately, due to the increased cost of labor and materials. The current budget estimates have seen a significant increase over the original estimates that were prepared in 2019 and 2020. Obviously, the economic impacts of the pandemic, supply chain, inflation have contributed to this increase, and the current funding gap is $1.3 million. And they are seeking other funding sources to help close that gap, including the $300,000 request. This is a large project. It's $8.3 million, and they have a lot of other partners putting in funding, such as SORTA, ODOT, federal government, and City of Madeira. Here's just some screenshots of what the traffic calming they'll be doing to enhance more and encourage more people to slow down, as well as attend and support their local businesses here. Similar type of issue, the City of Montgomery is requesting $500,000. We're recommending the full amount. Again, this is a funding gap of a project that is ready to go. This is construction, this is related to the Montgomery Quarter project. This is construction of a roadway connecting the recently completed roundabout, if you're familiar with that area, to the newly constructed roadway network of the Montgomery Quarter project. Again, given the cost of labor and supplies, the pandemic and all other reasons for cost increases has put this project in jeopardy, as the cost of labors and supplies have absorbed the funding in place for the project. So grant funds would allow for the completion of the second stage of Montgomery Quarter. It's ready to go, and it will facilitate the private development portion of this project. So you can see here, the roundabout is in the upper left corner. You can see where the phase 2 and the roadway would come through to really help spur that private development. City of Sharonville, this is a new request from them. They requested $50,000. We're recommending the full amount. This is to expand their existing program they have for small businesses to help improve the small businesses' facades. This helps retain businesses in their community. And the city is putting in $100,000, and this would help them do more. So far, since the program's been in effect since 2017, they have helped 57 businesses with over $450,000 provided for building improvements. And the City of St. Bernard, another one of our inner ring suburbs, requested $339,000. We're recommending the full amount. This is to demolish existing structures at the St. Bernard, the former St. Bernard Shopping Center right on Vine Street, which is near the heart of their business district. Grant funds are requested to demolish a little over 66,000 square feet on the existing site, and that will allow for the creation of 190 residential units and commercial spaces funded through private funds as well as their TIF funds. And this is a project, again, a critical project within St. Bernard. St. Bernard's already put in $2.9 million for this project to purchase the property. So this will help them speed up development of the site. You can see the site plan here. Vine Street's on the bottom of the map. The City of Springdale, our next one, is requested $383,000. We're recommending a little less than that at $300,000 and almost $5,000. Similar to Colerain, this is a new sidewalk project. This will help fill in the gaps along the south side of Tri-County Parkway to provide for better mobility, connections, and accessibility, especially to bus stops along Northland Boulevard. And it will help connect people to employment centers throughout not only the city, but also the region. This does align with the city's comprehensive plan, and it does leverage existing public dollars from Springdale as well as private funds. You can see the red are where the gaps are in the sidewalk. You can see Hamilton County's new 911 center right there. Then we have our last two recommendations. The Village of Woodlawn requested a little over $231,000. We're recommending the full amount. And this is to help the village continue their efforts and their priority on revitalizing Springfield Pikes Business District, specifically between Riddle and Grove Roads. The village's long-term goal is to continue to acquire property along this stretch and replace it with small storefronts and/or mixed-use buildings. So the grant funds requested are to purchase 2 rental properties that, according to the village's application, are considered blighted. And again, this is in line with the village's plan to revitalize that part of Springfield Pike. You can see the 2 properties here. And our last recommendation is the City of Wyoming. They requested $250,000. We're recommending the full amount. It's for a new park pavilion, again, similar to Deer Park. This will help revitalize their and encourage people to attend and visit and shop at their business district. So what this will do will be a new music pavilion. It will leverage both local and local public and private funding. It's right adjacent to the business district, which has, I believe, at least a dozen businesses. And it will also help hopefully attract new businesses. They have a pretty large vacant parcel right there in the business district that they're hoping this will attract new business to that area. And you can see renderings of that pavilion in the lower right. So again, just to go back to basically the first slide, you can see 3.7 in requests, 3 million recommended. 3 grants are not recommended, which is a streetscape project for the village of Lockland, another property purchase for Woodlawn, which in their application they stated the one that we're recommending was their priority, as well as an application for North Bend for $500,000 to help do some improvements at property that was purchased last year. Now I'll just close with, I just want to show where the recommended projects are located throughout the county. I think it looks like a good distribution. And then I also wanted to show the geographic distribution of the community revitalization grants from 2021 through 2023. So the green were awarded in 22, the yellow were awarded in 21, and then the ones with the lines through them are ones that are recommendations at this point. So I think it really shows what I hope is the intent of the board, which to really try and impact as many communities as possible with these funds. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I know I went through that quickly, so please don't be shy.
Yeah, no, thank you for the presentation, and certainly shows that our board is definitely working to spread out the funds throughout the county. I had a couple questions. Can you pull up the St. Bernard Square revitalization one more time? I'm trying to figure out, I know it's on Vine Street. Is that where, is that across the street? I'm trying to figure out exactly what we are. Because I'm over there a lot. Of course, you know, the Chili Time, I think, has got a new person coming in, but
Yes, that's a
is
little
that
bit up
across the street from Chili Time, that mall, that strip mall?
I think it's near the library, might be right at this corner on the left.
Okay,
I
okay.
think there may have been an IGA here at one time.
Yes, yes. And they got a new place in there. Got some of the best fried chicken you can buy.
Yes, and a couple of the buildings are going to stay, I believe. I think there's a Skyline in this.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is that the one where Skyline is, behind Skyline?
Yes.
Okay, and then what they're planning to do with that?
So this is the one that is really exciting, and we're talking about sites. We were just hearing that in the affordable housing discussion, and more housing, no matter what kind of housing it is. 190 units, for this site.
Okay.
A lot of townhouses. Really spectacular change for St. Bernard's.
Okay. Great, that's what I just wanted to know, where the location. And then my question on Sharonville, which is only $50,000, small business facade, where is that located? Is that just the outer part of it, or because it said to help small businesses?
Yeah, so that's usually the outside, including signage, anything that can make the building more appealing to people driving by or walking by and think, wow, that looks fresh. That's a place I want to try out. It's probably primarily in their loop area,
Yeah,
which is kind of the downtown of
Yeah, we
Sharon.
can take this down. This is St. Bernard. We on Sharonville.
Sharonville didn't have geographic constraints on where the properties can be located, just within the city, of course. But it is, as Mr. Johns mentioned, the intent is to make the outside of the building look more appealing, to get more businesses in.
Gotcha. So we're contributing to their improvement program, and then the small businesses, the area they can apply, and then it'll be able to go up different places within Springdale.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. We can take those down. Sorry. Thank you. That's what I had. Deer Park, I want to just commend you. I know I got a call from them, and they presented to us what they're trying to do there. And I thought it was really cool how the connectivity with Deer Park and I believe Blue Ash and some other areas. But that park, they really want to get more utilization. And so I know that you all met with them. I said, meet and see if there's something that can be done. And I'm glad that something was able to be done with Deer Park. So I want to thank you for that. And then lastly, this roundabout, I was just saying, I'm trying to get used to these roundabouts. I mean, I just go in a circle. I did a ring around the rosy the other day in my car because I just, the cars are behind you. I don't know which street I got to get off on, and I end up going in a circle twice. So if this is going to help us with the roundabouts, I'm all in for it because these roundabouts, it's just a whole new game for me. And people were blowing, and I was going in a circle, ring around the rosy. So I hope this will help with that.
You're gonna have to get used to it. They're springing up everywhere.
I know that's what I'm saying. I was in two different roundabouts, one here and one over in Kentucky, and I did a ring around the rosy on both of them. I said, what is going on with these roundabouts? I can't read the street names quick enough. So, but anyway, this helps with us be able to, I'm all in. So thank you. And I'll open up Vice President Driehaus.
Thank you. Thank you to you, Steve, and to Holly for the presentation and putting all of this together. I know these aren't easy decisions, but thank you for doing this. Yeah, this program, as was stated, started a number of years ago in an effort for the county to partner with the 48 jurisdictions outside the city of Cincinnati to help with economic development, revitalization, catalytic projects that those communities were identifying to us as their highest priorities, which I think is the best way to do business when it comes to getting input from these other jurisdictions. So I am thrilled that we've got our third round here. They're all tied to the economic vibrancy of these communities and the residential piece as well. So I had I like the diversity in the projects, as you say. They're doing a number of different things, and I love the map where you've shown us not only this year's projects, but as we move through, it is very helpful to understand what you're evaluating by way of what projects get funded and which don't. All leading up to I don't know if it's a question so much as it is a question. So is it fair to say and true to say that the projects that did not get funded all have received funding in previous rounds? And I'm wondering if that went into some of the rationale for not funding these this round, knowing that this is something that we put in the budget a number of years ago, and so it's ongoing funding. So this $3 million opportunity continues to be there for communities. And so I was out in North Bend last night, and they mentioned that they had applied, and I didn't divulge anything because we hadn't had a public meeting about it. But they did get money in the round last year, and it was substantial funding for the project on the river that they've got going out in North Bend. So it was that part of the rationale here for the projects that didn't get funded?
I think that's part of it, but some of those projects also didn't score very well. Two of those had 2 applications each, both in Lockland and Woodlawn. So they had an application, one of them rose to the top of those 2. And then there's that sense of fairness of should jurisdictions get 2 shots at the funding each round like that? There was that piece. But you being out in North Bend, you know how relatively small the village is. And for us to keep pouring large chunks of money out there, and what really struck us was they haven't firmed up commitments from other folks. And that is part of the scoring criteria. So we look forward to that maybe coming back again, but with a little bit more support,
So will you follow up with these communities that didn't succeed in this round of funding?
of course. Yes.
Okay, that's great. And yeah, I do note also that, previous grant awards, for all of the ones that got awarded outside of those three, they have not gotten any previous awards. So I really think that's significant, and I think it's a credit to you all that the word is out, that we've got this funding available, that it's continued funding year after year. And so these communities, they've not applied before, but they're applying now. And I really think that's the point of the program, is to spread the wealth, catalyze these projects, make sure that we are partnering with them to revitalize, as I said, these business districts in particular, and build these communities and build growth in these communities. So I'm thrilled about the recommendations. I can't wait to see them come to fruition out in these communities. So thank you.
Commissioner Dumas.
Thank you. I read this late last night. I was just so excited for so many reasons. So I'm going to try to narrow it down. I think your marketing has improved so much, because I know originally we were saying we didn't get a lot of applications. When did the revitalization grant start? I want to say
2021.
21, okay. And I was saying, why aren't we getting more people? And I also wanted to clarify that even though some of these have not gotten these grants, they've got lots of money and other economic opportunities. So it's good to see new ones. I have lots of notes that I can't read, but I thought that your report that I read was just so clear as it relates to justification of why you guys didn't choose them, the clear denial, why it was denied. I thought that was great, because we had kind of struggled with that at the beginning, because I wanted to, know, well, why didn't they get it? I'm just really, can you tell I'm excited about this? So the applications are increasing, you're justifying it, and also specifically, matching funds. I noticed Lockland has 25,000 matching funds, and Colerain committed 250,000. Now, I want to clarify for myself, you don't have to have any matching funds.
That's correct. I believe you get points in the evaluation process.
That was going to be my next
Where
question.
Colerain
Yeah.
came up with about half the cost for the project,
Okay,
whereas Lockland's coming up with maybe 20%.
okay.
Colerain got a couple extra points for doing it.
There you go. That's what because I was going to say, give them their money back. No, not really. And another question I had is filling the gaps on the sidewalks for Springdale was part of their project request. And Holly, you may be able to answer this better. I know that our budget for the 911 EMA building increased because they demanded somewhat that we put in sidewalks. So is there some reciprocity that we don't have to pay as much since they're getting a grant from us to do it?
I don't think, no, that hasn't been brought up with them. But we did, you're correct. We were required as a new property owner to have sidewalks put in.
Aren't those the same sidewalks where they said there were gaps where we're building our?
Ours was already finished.
Okay.
So on the map, it was towards the end of the street where the sidewalks would be built, not where we are, not where our 911 center is.
Very good. Okay. On the map where you had the orange and at the end, can you go back to that last map? And Holly, you were saying the orange indicated the new ones, but I noticed the orange with the lines indicated the new.
I think the orange might have been ones that got both years.
Okay, but then I saw orange without lines, and I didn't know. Yeah, I see orange without lines,
Yes.
and then what are the ones with the lines mean?
So the orange with the lines, that would be like, for example, Springdale. So that was, they were awarded Springdale has been awarded previous funds, but they are also recommended for funds this year.
Oh, you did a combination of the lines and the color for the key. Okay. All right, very good. I understand that now. I think that's all that I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I did have one on that sidewalk one more time. I just wanted to make sure that as we are approving, or if we can, I don't know if we can or not, but I know they have it in Cincinnati now because I was there when that was one of my initiatives. But outside of Cincinnati, I wanted to make sure these sidewalks have the curbing for wheelchairs, especially if we're going to put our money into it. I'd like to make sure, because I notice sometimes outside of the county, the sidewalks don't have the wheelchair accessibility. So I just wanted to make sure that's in there. Outside of that,
I
Commissioner.
just had one other comment. On the highlights component on each project, is that something new, or you just expanded what you included on the, everyone has highlights, and I thought that was really good. Is that something new you did as far as developing the report, or?
I think so, it's just to provide just key points. Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are doing great work. Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, this is great. What's our next step on this, Holly?
So we will be notifying everyone, as well as notifying the ones that weren't funded, and we'll be bringing forward a grant agreements to the board once they're ready for signature.
Okay.
So,
Look forward to it. Thank you. Great job. All right, our next item is executive session. I make a motion to go in executive session pursuant to the ORC Section 12122G3 to conduct a conference with an attorney for the public body concerning MSD.
Second.
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse. Commissioner Summer Dumas.
yes.
All